Yo, what's up, YouTube? If you've watched my last video, I talked about how Kevin, DeBro, Frankie Benelli did a cover of Julliet, the band. Love Can Change You for the Japanese version of Down to the Bone, and I figured I'll just make a quick video of that band itself. The band in question, of course, is Julliet, and they were from Tampa, Florida. They came out with the first album, I think it was like 90 or 91, 1990. And they were quite a regional hit in the Tampa and Florida areas. And they caught the attention of Kevin, and one thing after another, they finally got a record deal. And the band was initially the brainchild of guitarist Jim DeLisi and bass Ty Westerhoff, and they later added Kenny McGee, the lead singer. And the three albums they released, they had different drummers on each one, including Frankie on the second one. So the drummer was definitely, just a random spot each time, I guess. But on the first album, it's Greg Pecca. And the third album, it is, let me look here, Joe Zakari. So, like I said, the drummer was always a different member each time. Anyway, they, as I said, they were big in Florida, and Kevin noticed them, and they were signed by Enigma, which was a big record label at the time, and they went out to LA, I believe, and recorded this album. I think that's where it was. I'm not a huge expert on this band in particular, but anyway, the debut album came out, playing in the background. This did have a CD, obviously, and a vinyl release, German and a South Korean, but those are a joke. So you hardly ever see the German vinyl release. So it's definitely something I need to get. It's on my want list. And this album is a masterpiece, a hard rock melodic AOR hair metal masterpiece. As you can hear in the background, 8 Lives Gone's playing. Stay the Night. Let's see. You're only revving me up. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a fun song. Chip Away is a great ballad. You Can Leave Your Hat On is the one that stands out. Not necessarily in a good way. It's probably my least favorite on the album, but it's very like a jazzy, bluesy type song. It might be a cover. If you know, I don't really know because I didn't look. If you know if that's a cover or not, let me know. I think it would be. Love Can Change You, the one that Quiet Riot did a cover of. And I'll play them back to back here in a minute, after I talk about this a little bit more. Like I always do, I always leave samples at the end. I'll just talk about the album, leave a few short samples of a few songs so you get the idea. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with this album at all. It's really amazing. It's my favorite of the three. The second one's really good too. I'll get to that in a second. I mean, highlights, damn coffin, 8 Lives Gone, Help Is On The Way, No More Tears, Chip Away, Love Can Change You. It's the only one that's not great, but not terrible if you can leave your hat on. So here's a few samples. And I'll play the Quiet Riot one also. So that's debut. The next up was Julliet Passion. This is the one with Frankie on drums, which is, it goes head to head with the debut I like the debut just a little bit more, but they're both awesome. I could see people liking this one more. I think this was 92. Well, this is 2002. I don't think, I have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it was, since he did the cover. This version might be 2002, but I think this album was originally covered or recorded in 91, 92. It doesn't have that, but this must be the reissue. I mean, you have Love Hungry Man, the opener. That's Lost and Lonely. Melodic, mid-paced AOR song. The ballad Baby Blue, really good one. Anytime you want me, I'll be there. That's a cool one. Let's see. Still I'm Dreaming, another good one. Mind Over Matter is probably like You Can Leave Your Hat On. It's the only one that's sort of weak on the album. The rest of them are all solid. I think it's the better production in this album because actually the first one I read, Frankie Sullivan of Survivor, which I still need to do a video of their albums. According to Discogs, he produced it. I didn't look in the cassette, but it's possible. I mean, it's not possible, but it must be true. And then Kevin produced this one, and that's why Frankie played drums on the album. Boys Will Be Boys, I'm No Angel, also good tunes. I think, like I said, it's definitely better produced. It's harder edged, I think, a little bit more than the second album. So I'll play some songs here to give you an idea of what it sounds like. So here's some samples of Passion. So after a while, the band broke up and kind of disappeared until the early 2000s. And in 2003, they got back together, the original 3 core members, and they released in 2004, I believe this came out, 2004, their third and final album, Psycho Boyfriend. Weird title, name. And when I got this, I was initially excited to hear it, and it dissipated really quickly. This album, I don't know, Kenny's voice on this album, it's hard to distinguish between his voice and the earlier records. You can tell it's him, but it's not as melodic, his voice. He got older. I don't know if he changed, what happened, but the album is definitely not melodic very much. It's more modern rock, hard rock, which is already a bummer. And it kind of has like a post-grunge feel at times. The ballads, on the other hand, sound more closer to the classic Julliet sound. There's even some, like, it's definitely the hardest album they did, at least in parts, because the first song, Quarter Past 4, is definitely like alternative hard rock, punky sound. But Little Black Book is kind of like a alternative hard rocker. I kind of like that one a little bit, but the only ones that remind me of like the classic Julliet albums are the ballads, like Leave the Light On. It's the ballad at the end. Coming of Age, the song before that's kind of older Julliet. Remind Me is another ballad. It has somewhat similar sound to the first 2 Julliet records. But this album, it's really forgettable. I'm sorry, but for me it is. It's definitely far from the first 2 albums. Quarter Past 4 stands out because it's really hard rocker. It might be the hardest song they recorded, but it's, I don't know, the something's missing. Like I said, his voice is not as melodic. The songs are just not as good. It has some decent songs like Little Black Book, Remind Me, Coming of Age, and the ballad Leave the Light On. But all of these songs would be probably the worst songs from the first two albums, or close to it. But it's not a total loss, but it's just one that was, I don't know, I had a lot of high hopes for it, and the sound was different, the singing wasn't as melodic, and the songwriting was just forgettable. Hate to say it, but that's just my opinion. If the band members see this, I love your first two albums. So anyway, here's a few samples from Psycho Boyfriend. So there you have it. That's Julliet. I don't know if the band's still active. They might be down in Florida. If they are, probably, I'm guessing. If anybody watches from the Tampa area or Florida area that knows any more recent history of the band, let me know. Because, like I said, I'm not an expert on the band that much. But I do love their first two albums. I wish they would make another album. Hopefully, if they do, it's more melodic, back in the classic time. I don't know if that was part of his voice changing or, just whatever, but I would give it a listen to the third one, because it sounds like I'm harsh on it because I'm not a big fan of it. What I would recommend is listen to the first two, then separately the third one, and compare them, so you can tell the difference yourself. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today, since it was still on my mind, since they covered that song, and I figured it would be a nice follow-up video. Let me know if you like Julliet, if you listen to them, the first two albums anyway, or if you even have all three like I do. Like I said, the first two are great. I want to get the first one on vinyl. It's the only one that was on vinyl. And as always, YouTube, I'll put a video here. Keep on rocking, and peace. I'll see you soon.